Greetings, beloveds. I am Phoenix Nadie, owner of Phoenix-Ism. This is our third jewelry making tutorial, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you ever so much to everyone who has subscribed. We got a few new subscribers, and I am super excited about it. So let me show you what it is that we'll be creating today. And it should be about here. This beautiful copper chakra anklet. Isn't it beautiful? I know you guys want to get to it, so let me throw you the intro. Oh, here we go. This beautiful chakra anklet. It's a chain link one, which is what we're going to be using the wires for here to create our chain link. Now I'm going to be showing you how to create a chain link with beads. All right. So as you see, I have quite a few beads to be using for an anklet, right? It's quite a lot. These are crystal stones of different assorted colors. And remember, this is a chakra anklet. So each stone has a duplicate and it pertains to a certain chakra. Now let me let you know what materials are needed. So we have our needle nose and our round nose. We really don't need our flat nose as much today. We also have our cutters. We also have some jump rings, copper jump rings, and then we have a lobster claw. All right, are you ready? Let's begin. All right, so we're going to begin by cutting a few lengths of wire. Now this is 22 gauge wire. With each bead, you want it to be enough space to do as much looping and as much turning as you need to do. Now the reason why we're using this small gauge of wire is because, again, it's an anklet and we don't want this to be extra bulky. We're also doing a two-layered anklet, so we're going to do about 3 inches so that we have adequate space, you know, from the bead to do the work that we want to do. So what I'm going to go on and do is cut out, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 of these lengths for our anklet, okay? Or the 14th, I can say. All right, so we have all of our lengths cut. Now we're ready to begin creating the bottom portion of the first chain link. All right, I'm going to move these to the side, and we're going to start from the root, from the base chakra beads on up. All right. Let me come in a little bit closer for you all so you can really see exactly how to do this here. I think that's good. Okay. All right, so we know that the bead is going to be about at the middle. And what we want to do is begin to create our loop. Okay. Now, because this is an anklet, we don't want it to be too big. Okay. So we're going to put a slight bend in the wire like so, with your round nose or with your pliers. To get a better bend, you're going to want to use your pliers, okay, to get a really good bend there at a good angle. All right, I just want to straighten that up a little bit so that the bead doesn't have a hard time going on, which it shouldn't, because we actually could have used a larger gauge, but again, because of it being an anklet, we don't want it to be so bulky that it's poking and things like that on the ankle. All right, so now you have your slight angle here. You want to take your round noses, not too far in, because you don't want to, again, you don't want it to be so bulky. So we're going to go on and do a small loop here and bring it on around to the other side. Okay. So this is what you're left with when you get to that point. All right. So I'm going to go on and put my pliers back in, and I'm going to wrap around the base wire with the tail. Okay, and I like to do 3 wraps just because of how it looks. It looks great, and then it ends up being really nice and uniformed and just, you know, beautiful. That's what we want. All women love beautiful jewelry, right? And we want to make sure that it looks great. So this is all we need right here. Okay, I'm going to zoom in so I can show you guys again once we get the other side attached. Now you want to cut off the excess that's there. Let's go ahead and give it a good snip. Again, safety. Put your finger over what you're cutting. And if you do have the opportunity to have protective eyewear, this is something that would work out for you, because these pieces do fly sometimes. I have these kind because I wear glasses and this helps me out, but always protect yourself. Okay, so let's get back to work. All right, so when you clip that in, you want to make sure you squeeze it down like we always do, because you do not want to have too much sticking out to where it'll nick and rub. And with anklets, that happens quite a bit, so we're going to make sure that this is done and snug. Okay, so let's squeeze that in really good. I think it's in there pretty good. Okay, and I have to work on remembering not to go out of frame. So there we go. That should be good. All right, so this is your very first loop for your chain link chakra bracelet. All right, so now you want to go, I'm sorry, not bracelet, but anklet. So now you want to go on and add your piece. So this red jasper is so beautiful to me. I love the markings on this. And then this one is more red than anything, but I wanted to have the versatility the same way with our carnelian as well. So all right, so we have our piece, and how we want to seal this is the same way we did this on this end. Okay, you want to take your pliers, okay, and you want to go the opposite direction you went on this first one. Okay, so you want to make sure it's sturdy and that it's straight. And so now you want to make sure you have enough space to do your wraps. So I'm going to bring it down just slightly, just to make sure it's about the same. We don't want it to be different than the rest. Okay, so we got that little bend again. And then again, we're going to take our pliers. Now, a good way to keep the same size is to take a Sharpie marker, fine point preferably, and I don't have one at the moment. I do, but it's not available. You do is you go ahead and you make a mark where you have it. So I'm going to make a mark on this side so I'll know where and what size they're supposed to be. And I'll do the opposite side, being that with my needle noses are 2 different sizes. If you can see that there, they're 2 different sizes. So I want to be able to remember and utilize the right side. Okay, and so there's my mark. Now I know. Okay, so let's go and get to the other side here. So you don't want to go too low. You want to pretty much go, I'm going to do it this way so you can see the mark. Okay, you want to go where your mark is, and you want to go in the middle since it wasn't a fine point Sharpie. Okay, so you want to get your loop the way you want it, rotate it, and you turn. And the same way we did before, we're going to go on and wrap it around 3 times. All right, 2 and 3. Okay, find your spot, adjust as needed. So I have to pinch a little bit All right. Make sure it's good and straight. Everything is the way that you want it to be. There's nothing to adjust or change, which is good. Okay. Go ahead and clip your tail off. And give yourself enough room in between, because sometimes they can be really snug and you'll have a hard time getting your cutters in there. So you want to be able to get in there and clip. So we got a little bit of space that will allow me to squeeze right in there, and or even this way here. Let me move this out the way. You know, good enough for me to get in there and clip off what I need to clip off. Now be careful not to clip off your loop that you just did. Okay, so I have enough space to get down in there and clip. Okay, again, safety is key. Hold on to that wire so it doesn't shoot all over the place. And we're going to take our flat nose and we're going to go on and squeeze that in there and secure it in. Okay, so that's one. Let's move on to our sacral, and that will be the carnelian bead. You're going to grab you another link. Okay, make sure you have it at the middle. Find your space here, about there. Get your bend going. You got your bend. Okay, take your round nose again with the mark on it already, and go on and create your loop. Now this one is going to be done slightly different, and I need to get it in the middle. There we go. All right, you're gonna go on and pull it through and do its thing, but you want to connect it to the other piece. So you're gonna take it and put the loop already in, get it going. You see how it's already on there? You already got your dangle action going. You're gonna take your pliers, your flat nose pliers, and go ahead and wrap your tail around 3 times to secure. All right, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, bring it all the way back around. Squeeze what needs to be squeezed and put together. Let's make sure it is what we want it to be. Okay, we can actually bring this around just a little bit more. All right, clip the tail off. All right, and pinch it closed. So you don't want that to poke anyone, so close that up. Really easy, really simple. Okay, there it is. Now you can always go in and file. However, this is treated wire, which is why it has this beautiful shine. You don't want to disturb that, so I wouldn't advise it. Just make sure it's tucked in really good. All right, so now we're attaching the carnelian bead, and again, you want to do it the same way. Go in the opposite direction, leave yourself space to wrap, and also space to be able to get in there and clip what needs to be clipped. So we got our bend again in there. We're going to take our round noses again where our mark is, and it looks like I might have to mark it again, because you know sometimes on metal Sharpies permanent markers won't stay. So if you feel or you find that, if you find and see that you need to do that again, by all means do so. All right, so we're going to wrap it, twist it around once again. At this point, I'm going to go take my flat nose to hold this part secure so that I have, you know, adequate space to get my wrap going. And again, we're going to wrap 3 times. Try to stay mindful of how many wraps that you're doing. because you want this to look as uniform as possible. This is an anklet. You can do a bracelet like this. You can do a necklace like this. And you just want to make sure that everything is cohesive. Okay, even though it's handmade, you know, you still want to be mindful that you have, you know, the care to make sure that it is uniform and it looks good and great. All right, let's see if I can get in there. I can. So, well, let me see. Since I have one side broke, this is how I have to do it. I'm sorry, y'all. If it wasn't, then I would have been all right with how I was doing this. All right, so now we want to make sure that we close this and be careful not to scrape and scuff the bead, because that's the decorative aspect of it. This is what most people are going to see and fall in love with, so be sure to do that properly. All right, so that's 2 down. All right, let's grab another one so you can see it once again. And then I'm going to go on fast forward through the rest of these, okay? So once again, you're going to grab your bead, and right now we are at the solar plexus chakra, which is the citrine bead. We are going to make sure we identify the middle, and we're going to give it a bend, straighten out the bottom, give it a good bend. I think that's a good spot to create our loop again. We still have our mark here. Okay, I'm going the opposite direction just so I can show you a little better. I'm going to go on and bring it around. Okay, now before we loop this, and make sure you're doing this in the right direction, just simply because it's an order to it. So we want to make sure we're going in the right order. We want to have our just a minute. We want to make sure we have our red jasper, our carnelian, and then go to our citrine. All right, sorry about that, y'all. I'm a mama before anything, right? All right, so we have to remember not to close this off so that we can go on and secure it in the pattern in which it's supposed to go. Now, I still have my beads lined up. Let me put them in view so you can see them here. They're still lined up so that I know the order to do these in, regardless of, you know, if I've already used some or a certain side. So they're going to be like this the whole duration, just simply because I like order, and I like, you know, to be able to just grab what I want to grab, where it is and how I need it, and which direction it needs to be in. Okay, so there's a pattern here, and we got to follow the pattern. That's pretty much what I'm saying. All right, and let me see, because I don't want to lose. Yeah, here we go. All right, so let's make sure that we connect this to the right pattern, the right portion, the right spot. And so this goes next to the citrine. All right, so we're going to take our pieces that's already done. Okay, and we're going to go on and secure the loop. And again, I prefer to use my flat nose plier to hold this instead of trying to pull in the round nose. And again, we're going to wrap 3 times. So that's 2 and 3. And then bring it around. And make sure that it is wrapped the way that you want it to be. Okay, so I'm going to take it around one more time. Okay, there we go. Now we got the 3. I counted that first one and I shouldn't have. So there we go. All right. And is it the same on the other side that it's 3? Yes, it is. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So it's looks like 4 on this side. So we're going to be able to cut it on the side. Okay. So I'm going to just bring it up a little bit. And so you have to look at these things, and you have to, you know, use your judgment and know where things need to be. Okay. And clip this so it doesn't fly all over the place. Such a small tail there. So now, again, we want to squeeze this down before we put our citrine bead on. Okay. Now you can find citrine beads that are going to look a little different. You have some where there is a full-on yellowness to it. Then you have those that have more of a clear yellow tone to them. For this though, I wanted more of the color to show. So this is where we are with this one. Okay. Goes on there perfectly. All right, so we got our bend, and it's the opposite direction as the one there. And we find our mark. Okay. Wrap it around and secure with 3 wrappings. So that's 2, and that's 3. So let's look at both sides and make sure that it's 3 on both sides. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's clip. Okay, and go ahead and squeeze the tail that we clipped and hide it away. And there you have that. All right, let's keep moving on. So at this point, you know, you might can make a very beautiful bracelet with this portion, but it's for an anklet. So for an anklet, you want about 8 to 9 inches. Okay, you can even go 10 inches just so that the person has a little bit more space to work with. You want to be able to have it adjustable. So this here is already at 6 inches, and that's for the front. And so for actual anklet measurements, it depends upon the size. So if it's like for a small anklet, you would do about 8 inches. Just to be on the safe side, you want to at least do a large anklet, which would actually be about 9 inches long. Okay, So let's move this over so we can get the actual measurements, okay? And I'm just gonna go on and go about 10 inches just so that they have space, okay? So from here on around, that's what I need to be looking at, okay? And it'll be about here will be the additional length for around, okay? So I'm going to go on and cut that just slightly, about 10.5 inches, because I just like to be on the safe side. That's me, and I don't want someone to have to say, hey, can you adjust this for me? I want it to already be the way that they need it to be. So I'm going to go on and just clip this one off. Of course, a lobster claw is more secure. It'll give you more security when wearing an anklet. So this is what we're going to use today. So we cut this in half, and oftentimes with anklets, it'll be a chain on one side that'll connect to the base of the chain, and then there will be a claw toward the end. Now for me, I like to have it on either side, and my reason for that is because I like for the front of the anklet to stay at the front, either on the front portion of my foot or on the side portion of my foot, or enough to go all the way around, so that it can be shown on the front as well as the back. And I'm just using my hand as a reference point, so you'll see like my wrist being the actual ankle. Sometimes I like to wear it this way, whereas sometimes I like it to go on the side and dangle and droop on the side. And I prefer to maybe connect in the middle, where this chain will be connected to both ends, where we'll split it in the middle, so that if I desire to put several other jump rings in there for different lengths of connecting, I can do that, and we'll probably be doing that as well. All right, what I'm going to do before we get into everything else is go on and get this portion done, and then we'll do our assembly of the chain, the lobster claw, and the jump ring. Okay, I'm going to show you how I'm going to make this a double chain. It's really, really simple. All I'm going to do is pretty much keep going like I was already going. And instead of, when we get to the part where we're going to attach the chain, instead of putting a jump ring or something like that, we're going to go on and connect it here with the jump ring that we're going to create for ourselves. Okay, so it's going to go right here. All right, so this is complete, and what I should have done on this end was attach these two together so that they can dangle, but since I didn't, we're going to use jump rings. All right, so I'm going to put this aside, and we're going to grab more wire because we may need about 2 or 3 jump rings. Now I'm going to clip this down at the very end so that it can be a little more flat, which it didn't happen. Normally it does, but it's gonna be all right. Let's zoom in so we can do this. Oh, it's nice thunder going on. I hope you guys can hear it. It's beautiful. Beautiful thunder going on. Uh-oh, there we go. There we go. All right, so again, this is the 22 gauge wire that we're going to be using. Now, I showed you guys my bell maker in the last couple of tutorials. I believe it was the first tutorial that we did. And so we want to make sure that we have a good size that's similar to the size that's here. So what I'm going to do is bring it down to my step bell maker, and it looks like it'll be the third one here. So that's the one we're going to use. So we have one here, one there, and one here. We're going to use the third one, not the second one. So what you want to do is take your wire on the third notch, and this little felt thingy is not pretty good with doing this here. This surface here keeps having me snag little things. But all right, you want to wrap it around. like we did when we did that spiral work on the last piece. You want to just wrap it around, and whatever the length is you cut, you're going to get several jump rings from this. Okay, so, and I didn't measure, so I apologize. I wish I would have measured so I can tell you, ouch, so I can tell you exactly how many you would get from this. But what I'm going to do, squeeze this good and tight. All right, good and tight. And I'm going to go on and squeeze the ends down a little bit more, not all the way, but just so that it's not sticking out too much. Okay, squeeze them together again. All right, so the goal with this is to make sure that you cut a straight line across to give you several different jump rings. Okay, I'm going to cut my edges down here. We got some rain going on and some heavy winds. Wow, sound like a branch fell. But we're all right, we're okay, as long as we don't lose power. All right, so cut those off, and you probably won't use the loops at the end. Okay, this is what we have, we're working with. Now, usually I would use my jeweler's saw so that I can get a straight cut on these, but just for the video purpose and for this project, and just to show an alternative way, because I know there's a lot of people who don't have jeweler's saws, so you're going to use your plush cutters. And I wish I had my tip on this other side, but I don't. All right, so you're going to take it down, preferably on the sides that your ends are on, and because they're not joining and meeting together, I'm just going to go right between them, and I'm going to cut. And take your time, because you don't want to mess up anything. So, and see how it's sliding off. Take your time. Just take your time and give it a good cut. Don't seem to be as strong as I would like them to be. It's okay. All right, so we got one jump ring, two. Okay, we'll cut some more, and again, just take your time. Okay. All right, so cutting more. Looks like we got one more. No, it's not coming off yet. Just take your time. This is the reason why you would want to use a jeweler's saw instead of your cutters, because your cutters will sometimes not give you a straight enough link for them, and I'll show you about that more. You just keep cutting through, and you really want to just do this for however many you need, but take your time. Take your time. There's no rush here. Okay, now I believe that's about all that I need, but I kind of want to take this all the way through for you all just to see. Okay, and you'll keep cutting until you get to the end, which is where we are now. And there they are. So with just that little piece of wire, we made 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 jump rings, and this is the only piece that we won't be using. Toss that aside. Okay, so the whole goal of jump rings, my babies, they're enjoying the rain now, is to make sure that, and I hope you can see that okay, is that you have a space to link them together. Another way also, though, to make sure that they're secure good and that they're not going to bend easily, is to have a block available that you will use to bang them and make them stronger and sturdier. You might want to use like a rubber mallet type or cowhide or nylon or something like that, so that it doesn't create any nicks. But I'm going to show you right here in this little corner how you would make these strong for your piece. So let's get these out of the way, and let's just do a couple. Okay, And just put that right there. It's a steel block, by the way. And you want to just take one of the sides, doesn't matter. I'm going to use this side. And you just want to kind of bang it just a little bit. And it's on the bottom, but it's not like I can hold it, right? So, and it has some of the fibers from this. I'm going to have to find something else to use. So you want to just bang it just a little bit, like so. And it'll make them a little bit stronger so that they don't go anywhere. Oh, that one flew, you guys. But just so that it doesn't go anywhere, okay? So we're going to just do 3 for right now because I believe that's all we need. So I'm going to sit that there. But that's just one of the ways to take care of that. All right, so now what we're going to do is get to the process of attaching our chain. Now, if you recall, I said I wanted to do my chain a different way, and we're going to see if we can do that today. You guys are doing this with me as I go, hopefully. All right. So we're going to take one of the jump rings that we just made sure was sturdy, strong. All right, we're going to take it and we're going to link the both of these together. Really easy, really simple. Now you see how they dangle a little. That's what we wanted. We wanted some dangle action like that. Okay. And so let's attach the chain here. And let's close this up really good and secure. So that's what you want to hear, and I hope you heard it. There's a snap that you'll be able to hear to let you know that it is closed. Okay. And of course, in other instances, there would be another, your lobster claw and another thing at the end there to attach it, okay? So because we already have, my children are excited about the rain. I am too. We're going to go on and take it on the first one, not the second one. This is actually the first one, so let's reverse that. The first one here, okay? That one's actually a little bit longer than the other one. And we're going to close this up because this is going to be where it can be attached, okay? So let's get that secure the right way. Click it together, okay? On the other end, we're going to take the other jump ring. Go ahead and open that up. And we're going to put the lobster claw in. Okay. Now you can get these at any craft store. I have a local supplier that I really, really love. And hopefully I can keep patronizing. I prefer to go to the local small businesses in my neighborhood and support them. Because, you know, I appreciate what they're doing, and I'm sure they appreciate my service. All right. So, with this, now you can take it around and attach it. So this is this way, okay? This is this way of doing it. And that's an anklet for you. Let me zoom out so y'all can see. So that's one way of doing the anklet there, where it attaches and dangles this way or that way, depending upon the size of the ankle. Another thing I like to do is to cut in the middle, which we're going to do here for this piece, because this is how I prefer to do this. Not exactly in the middle. We want to give some length. So we're going to cut about here. Okay. We don't want to have the same problem we had with it flying and shooting all over the place, so we're going to hold it, right? And we'll take another jump ring and place it on this side. So we have one here. Go on and open it up. I'm sorry. No, we're not. We're going to use the one we have here already. I totally forgot it was there. All right, here we go. Nope, come on. Now we're going to take it, open it up, and attach this end to it, and close it up. So the trick to jump rings is not to move them and wiggle them too much. You just want to open them and close them. So now it's more adjustable, right? So now you can put it wherever you would like. So what I'm going to do on the end to make the end nice and decorative, we have some, let me open this up. We have some little copper, they call them clasp beads, little accent pieces. We can either use this. I actually have something else in mind. Let me see if I have them in my bead tray here. And I should. I like to use copper accent pieces, or maybe something that's a little different shaped. So the accent pieces that I have available that are copper are these bare rounds. This is a bare round, and that means that it will tarnish. Okay, so what I don't want is for it to tarnish, being that the rest of this is treated, and I can't seem to find one of my other accent pieces, which would have been perfect. It seems like all I have are these now. So that means that I have to go restock. So what I'm going to also do is I have other little pieces that would be great. Now, if this was in copper, I would use it. This is more of a brass going on. So that's not going to work as well as I would like it to work. But I also want to show you another clasp that a lot of people like to use, which would be this one they would call a C clasp. Now the C clasp, you know, opens in a different way, and it has a different type of latch available to it. A lot of the anklets have this clasp. However, for me, I have a hard time using that one because it's such a smaller space in between to latch on to your hook or your end clasp. So we're going to do something different. I don't have any more, so it's quite all right. We'll move forward and we'll just use these here. Now what I also like to do is add another bead at the end pertaining to what's going on. So what a lot of people really like is amethyst. So what I'm going to do is use a nice amethyst bead at the end, just as an accent and just to bring it all together and tie it together. Okay, all right, and we're going to do that pretty much the same way that we did before. We're going to cut off a length about 3 inches and do the same thing. The only thing that's going to be different with this is the fact that we're going to add a little decorative bead at the end. Now these are wide. Oop, too many, just one. But these are kind of wide, and so we have to keep in mind that it is. So a good way to do this in a different way, if you do decide to just use something like this, unless you just have a bead, period, you can take it and bend this in and make that the center, right? And just kind of leave it at the end. That could be a really wonderful way to do that. So let's see what we can get out of this. I want to do something different, and I want it to look a little different than what other people like to do. So let's see. So I'm going to pinch this together, since it's such a big opening, a big hole. And I just want this to sit at the end. So it looks like I'm gonna have to open that back up, and let me zoom in so you can actually see what I'm doing. Right there we go. Hope that's good there. All right, So I just pinched it a little so that this piece will sit right here. And then I'm going to pinch right above it to close it and seal it in. Okay, so we're going to make sure it stays right there in the middle. And then we're going to pinch right here on the top portion of it to make sure it stays there. And it didn't. So we're going to do this once again. All right, and sometimes you'll have to do one side individually. Okay, I have to open this up again. Okay, just give it a space to sit into. Okay. All right, so now that you have that space for it to sit into, because I want to be able to slide this into at least one side of them, but on the top of that bead. Okay. So I'm going to try and secure with my nail as much as possible. And now I'm going to pinch it in like that. And then I'm going to go on and bend each side. So one side, of course, so that we can put the bead on it. And then we're going to take the other side and wrap it around that wire. Okay. Let me show you how to do this with flat nose, because that'll give me a good bend, a really good bend. All right, I'm going to let it do what it's doing right there, because I kind of know exactly where I need to bend this, because I kind of have a mark there from trying to do it with the other pliers. Okay, so with this, I'm going to bend it this way, and I'm going to move that one just a little bit so I can bend this over it. So with it being so small, it's okay to use your tools. Please utilize your tools. That's what they are for. So I can get a good bend right there. Okay. So it'll be bent right over that little wire there. Okay. Got another little bend to get out of it. So let's try this. There we go. We got it. I hope that was on camera, because sometimes I go out of focus, out of view. So now that we got it like that, and you guys, I usually don't work with stuff this small. I usually have something a little bigger for this type of project here, but we want to put that back to the middle part. And from bending this portion over the top, and it looks like we kind of did both of them. Let me see something here. Let's see. Yeah, we can get both of them. Just go right over the top. Okay. Now what you want to do is bend it a little upward. I know this is like really tedious, but you'll see in the end that it's worth it. Okay. So now I'm going to take this from the middle. Oops. All right. Now you see how I'm kind of got it going up a little bit, just a little bit on this side, because we're going to take this one and wrap it around and then place this one there. So I'm going to go on and grab it here. Right? You see what I'm doing there? Lighting is not all that good. I'm sorry. Okay. Get in there good. And then let's bend it upward. There we go. We got it. So now we're going to wrap this part around this part. So yes, I'm going to go on and grab this here, just as we did before. Make sure that stays in the middle, but I'm going to grab this portion right here. Okay. Let's get it straight first, because I've kind of got an awkward bend. Squeeze this just a little. Okay, it might be a little difficult to grab and hold this, but I'm going to try and do it from the side. Okay, just so I can get this wrapped around. And it doesn't have to be too many times. I'm actually going to just do it well, no, we're going to do it 3. We're going to keep the same pattern that we're doing, okay? I like 3, just simply because it has a good frequency and vibration. If you know anything about numerology, that's something that's important in creating things and manifestation, spirituality. So I'll clip that off in the same way we did before. I'm going to straighten that out, squeeze this down around the base wire. Make sure that it's in there good and snug and nothing will scrape or you know, nick or rub. So here we go. That's good. We're going to make sure this is where we want it. Right? So we're going to pull it around again. There it is. All right, so let's get our amethyst in there. All right. It's a nice little end piece, right? The same thing. Leave you space to wrap. Now we're going to go this way. My round nose here. And we still have the same mark still there. So we're going to use that mark to wrap it around. And instead of connecting to this, we're going to connect to the end here. Okay, you could have also went on and connected it and used a jump ring as well. But we have the ability to keep everything cohesive, so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to grab my chain nose. Okay. And we're going to wrap it around, hopefully 3 times with what we have left. If not, then, you know, we're just going to keep it at what it is. So it looks like it's 3 times, which is great. Great, great, great. And we don't have to cut anything here. We just have to go on and secure it around that base wire. Okay. Just secure that the best way you can. I know it's probably a small space, but you know, as long as we can get in there and squeeze it down when we get to where we need to, it should be all right. Let's bring that down right there. And forgive me if I'm out of focus. Not focus, but yeah, focus and frame. Please forgive me. So here we go. And there it is. It's pretty neat. Pretty neat. Now, if you don't like the piece at the end, you can always find something else. You can always cut this off and just leave it the way it is. And to be honest with you, I don't really care for it much. This would be my first time trying to use something like this, and I don't really like it. It actually kind of got nicked a little bit, and I don't want it there. So I'm just going to take my cutters and attempt to cut it off. I don't have my oh, it's broke. Oh, because they're broke, I can't cut it off. Let me see what I can do, but I'm going to get it off. I'm going to get it off. All right, so at this point, what I like to do sometimes is add some jump rings so that it flows a certain way, or however I want to adjust it. Right now it fits here perfectly, no problem. Yeah, looks good. Another way, well, this actually is big enough to go in between if they want to. I don't. I'm going to go on and add some jump rings in between just a little bit. So let's go on and begin that. And I'm going to get that piece off the bottom. I just don't like how scuffed up it got. It is just too much. Let me get my ruler because I think we're going to do it probably a centimeter at centimeter intervals. Okay. let's see. No, we're going to do 2 centimeters. So 2, 4, 6, and it's 1 there already. So at 2, we're going to go about right here. And we're going to go on and put this one here. Okay. And we're going to keep going, keep going, keep going. Get this the way we want it. So we have 1 connected at the 2 centimeter mark. So now we need 1 more connected at the 4 and 1 more at the 6. That way it's adjustable. They're not super bulky and in the way. So it works out a little bit better this way. Okay, so we're going to go about here to the 4th centimeter. And 1 more. So I'm getting to the portion of my day where my device is getting ready to die. So I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible without losing the integrity of the video. All right, so here we go at approximately the 6th centimeter. And there we have it. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And so now it's adjustable the way I prefer them to be, the way I wish they sold them in the stores. But now you can attach at any one of those positions, even if you decide to wear it as a bracelet. So this is multifunctional. Let's zoom out a bit. All right. And so you can see the full piece here. This is it. So I want to thank you guys again so much for watching. Again, head over to Phoenix-Ism.com for all your jewelry needs, for links and tutorials, as well as our ancient wellness essentials. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again next week for another how-to jewelry tutorial. Peace.